Hi everyone, and thank you very much for taking the time to check out this video. Today we are going to talk a little bit about me and a little bit about leadership. My name is Michaela Carso. Let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do today is just kind of go over what this presentation will cover. What we're going to talk about is first who I am. You're going to learn a little bit about me, some of my history, education-wise, a little bit about kind of some of my likes. Next, we're going to define what it means to be a leader. And this is kind of my own personal definition of leader and what a leader means to me. Then after that, we'll talk about the qualities and characteristics that I define in a good leader and how those qualities and characteristics aid that leader in being successful. Then we'll talk about my personal leadership history and how those experiences kind of shape me and how I lead. And then finally, we'll talk about my current leadership preferences, and by that I mean, whether or not I like to lead or if I more prefer to follow. Like I previously mentioned, my name is Michaela Carso. My pronouns are she, her, hers. A little bit on my education history. Originally, I went to Concordia University in Portland. I had a really amazing time there. I met so many really amazing people, and we had so much fun exploring Portland while we worked towards earning our degrees. In the end, I earned a Bachelor's of Arts in Exercise and Sports Science at Concordia University. I thought that I wanted to be a physical therapist. After I graduated, I began working at a physical therapy clinic for an orthopedic company, and I was a physical therapy aide. And when I was doing that job, I ended up realizing that physical therapy wasn't where my true passion lied. So I did a lot of soul searching and eventually figured out that what I really, really care about and wanted to learn more about was nutrition. So I decided that I wanted to be a dietitian, and in order to do that, I had to go back to school. So I ended up attending Central Washington University, and there I achieved a Bachelor's of Science in Food Science and Nutrition, and I specialized in dietetics. What that did was it enabled me to apply to dietetic internship programs, and thankfully I ended up getting into one. That is why I relocated from Vancouver, Washington, my hometown, all the way to Charleston, Illinois, where I am now. I really love my experience so far. I've met a lot of really cool people, even though it all just kind of started. So what I'm doing is I'm currently completing my Master's of Science in Nutrition and doing my dietetic internship at Eastern Illinois University. Go Panthers! So finally, one last little thing that I thought might be noteworthy for some is that I'm obsessed with food. I love food. It's delicious. Cooking is super fun, and food has a lot to do with culture. You get to know a lot of people by eating with them, going and hanging out at a restaurant, things like that. It's just a really enjoyable experience. And I'm also really obsessed with dogs. I don't currently have one, but eventually I am determined to get a dog once I can make sure that I'm able to financially take care of them as well as spend enough time with them. So that's kind of a little bit of information on who I am, my professional goals, and just a little bit about my personal goals. What it means to be a good leader. According to Webster Dictionary, a leader is simply defined as a person who leads. This isn't very descriptive. To me, a leader is someone who possesses specific qualities or characteristics and uses those qualities or characteristics to enable those involved to be comfortable or willing to follow their instruction on how to successfully achieve their group goal, whatever this goal may be to them at that time. There are many qualities or characteristics that can enable a leader to be a good leader. We only have a limited amount of time, so I'm going to focus on 5 specific traits that to me make up a good leader. The first one is integrity. Integrity means that they're true to their word. If they're true to their word, then that enables the group to believe that they're focused on that group goal and not just their own personal gain. If they're not being honest and true to their word, it's hard for the followers to be confident and continue following the leader. The second is humility. This means that they're humble, free of arrogance or excessive pride. If the leader is not humble and they are kind of showing that they're arrogant, then it's hard for the group to follow because it may seem like they don't have integrity and that they're not focused on their group goal, just their own personal gain. The third is adaptable. Situations are always changing. No matter how much you plan, you cannot predict every challenge that you'll face. So you have to be able to change your plan and search for new answers and continue to move forward. The fourth is that they are accepting. No two people or things are the exact same. No matter what your situation is where you're working on a group goal with people, there's going to be times when you have differences in beliefs or opinions. If you can't be accepting of these differences, then it's going to be very hard to be kind. And without kindness, it's going to be hard to maintain your followers. Fifth is confidence. If the leader is confident in their decisions, it's going to be a lot more easy for the followers to be confident in them as well. If they're constantly second-guessing themselves, then the followers are also going to second-guess what the leader intends to do, or the leader's knowledge. These are 5 characteristics of a good leader. My leadership history. Throughout my life, I've had many leadership opportunities, both big and small. I'm going to focus on a couple of the larger ones that I've achieved since being in university. The first one is that I was assistant manager at Little Big Burger. I was really proud to earn this position because I'd never had an experience like this before. Little Big Burger is a restaurant chain in the Pacific Northwest. I held this position before I decided to pursue physical therapy. Next was at Central Washington University. At Central Washington University is where I began to really embrace my passion for nutrition. To start, I became a club officer. I was an officer in 2 separate clubs. The first one was the Nutrition Science Club. The second one was PUSH, which is Presidents United to Solve Hunger, a club at CWU. This was really cool because a lot of my classmates kind of looked up to me and looked to me for answers on what was going on in the clubs, as well as coordinating different opportunities for volunteering. Next, at Central Washington University, I was a student representative on 2 separate committees. The first one was the Dining Advisory Board, where I got to talk to the folks in dining about some of the student requests or how we can be more nutrition focused. The other was Nutrition and Dietetics Program Planning Committee, And this was where all of the different departments of nutrition came together at Central Washington University and tried to coordinate what they were doing so that they could be more cohesive. Third, at Central Washington University, I was a peer nutrition educator. This was a one-on-one counseling role where people would seek nutrition advice, and I got to lead them through nutrition and their nutrition journey in order to help achieve their wellness goals. Currently, at Eastern Illinois University, I'm a graduate assistant, which is a leadership position because I get to lead students who are willing to listen to nutrition advice to better make nutrition choices here at Eastern. What I learned from leading. I gained a lot from my different leadership positions, but I'm going to focus on 4 things that I truly gained from these different positions. The first one is managing a variety of personalities. As I previously mentioned, no 2 personalities are the same. Everyone has different ideas, or the way that they receive information, or the way that they try and explain their ideas to you. Sometimes this can be challenging, but it's really useful in learning how to manage all these personalities and get them to work together. The second one is seeking or receiving different perspectives. A lot of the time when you're considered the expert, it's really easy to get kind of focused on your own personal perspective. But sometimes it's really nice to seek out different perspectives to see if there's any way you could change what you're doing to be more effective or more efficient. So seeking those different perspectives out. As a leader, you also receive different perspectives even though you're not asking for them. Sometimes this can be really helpful because it can bring up a good point, but other times it can potentially slow down the process of working towards your goal. So being a leader, I learned how to kind of manage those different perspectives. The third is that I got to practice a lot of motivational interviewing. This was more in some of my more one-on-one leadership experiences, but it was really cool to see people come to their own conclusions on what they need to do to achieve their goal or the group goal. So I learned how to do that a little bit more effectively. And then fourth, I gained confidence in my decision making. As I mentioned, one of the characteristics of a successful leader is that they're confident in their decisions, and that really helps you lead because other people become more confident in your decisions as well. So those are just a few things that I learned from my different leadership positions. My personal preference. Do I like to be a leader or a follower? Honestly, this really depends on the situation. There are times when I'd prefer to lead, and there's times when I'd prefer to follow. When I prefer to lead, it's kind of dependent on who I'm leading. If I know them and I know their work ethic and kind of their learning styles or their work styles, and I know that I can mesh well with them, then I choose to lead. Also, if it's a specific topic that I really, really care about, I like to lead because I'm passionate about very specific things, and in those times I feel like I can really help carry our group to success. The other time I really like to lead is if there's severe consequences if we don't successfully complete the task or achieve the goal. I like to lead just because then I'm more in control and can hopefully help minimize those consequences or avoid them altogether. Times when I prefer to follow is if I'm really unfamiliar with the situation or the people or the topic, because I'm just not as confident in it, and I don't want to lead people in something that I'm not confident in. Another reason is if another person's truly passionate about that, then I tend to follow a little bit more, just because I see how much they care and it makes me more confident in their knowledge or their decisions. And then the third reason I tend to sometimes choose to be a follower is if I just don't feel emotionally up to it, depending on what the situation is. It could be kind of severe, and I don't really necessarily want to get involved in that. It just really depends on the situation. But I think all in all, I do tend to be more of a leader. That's just my preference. So now I'm just going to summarize everything that we talked about. And to start off, the first kind of thing that I really addressed was, who am I? I am Michaela Carso. I'm an EAU MSDI student, and I am a food and dog lover. The second main point that I addressed is, what is a leader? A leader possesses characteristics that enable those around them to comfortably follow. Some of those characteristics are integrity, humility, they're adaptable, accepting, and confident. And finally, what did I learn from leading? I learned how to manage a variety of personalities and perspectives. I gained experience in motivational interviewing, and I gained confidence in my personal decision making. In the end, I do tend to lead, but it does kind of depend on the situation. Thank you again for taking the time to check out my presentation and listen to it. I really had a lot of fun making this, and I hope you had fun watching it.